Content presented in Cheshire Corners is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult a legal professional if you have any questions or concerns about the content of this disclaimer, this series, or the legal implications surrounding psychedelic substances in your jurisdiction.
Welcome to Cheshire Corners. My name is Rita Tsalyuk, and I will be your host as we trip through the looking glass. I'm here with Taylor. Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Rita. What's up, guys?
You want to ask me about my glasses?
Oh, yeah. What's up with your glasses today, Rita?
I thought they're cute, the rose glasses, so I can see everything in the rose colors.
Rose gold glasses. Rose gold glasses. Rose gold glasses.
Yes.
Heck
yes.
yeah.
With that, let's start.
Welcome to Tripping with Taylor.
So we're going to talk about something that sparked my attention last week when I was listening in YouTube. And you know how YouTube giving you content that you're kind of searching for and you're ready to search for? So you can just tell, God gave me a content that I was ready for to see. Or YouTube just gave me content because of its algorithms.
Let's start with the algorithm.
Yeah.
What do you think happened?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both happened. And I see this content and it's like, oh no, I'm not going to watch any of that because this is just, it's just fiction. Too much fiction for me. Mm-hmm. And this time I was like, okay, this guy looks really nice on the thumbnail. I'm going to click on it. And I clicked and it was interview about consciousness and about reality. And I thought, okay, I already heard so many of them. But this guy was a little different. This guy was somebody who is a scientist, somebody that made huge discoveries in computer development, had patents, created first chips, knows so much about computers, and 30 years ago found his foundation, like non-profit foundation, because he wants for people to understand what he understood, that reality is a little bit more complicated than, nice and familiar material world that we wake up every morning to. So I sent it to Taylor. Taylor watched a lot. He watched the whole 20 minutes of it.
It's called A Tech Giant Discovers Transcendence. And, yeah, maybe that's what it was, that it's in the title, he transcended, you know?
Yeah, so we start talking about him having an experience.
He got straight to the point with, like, he talked about, like, reality being, like, sort of like impulses or like electricity. He talks about, I like that too, where it's like, oh, like shapes and stuff, and it's like he talked about like when you eat a chocolate, there's like electricity going on in your brain, and like he talked about like making a computer that's like similar with like the connections in it, but like to our brain. So it was like a computer, but like a brain computer, basically. And then I also liked, he started talking about, it sounded like he was talking about like a mushroom trip, but he never said that he had any psychedelics or anything, but he talked about like
How old is the guy? What do you think?
I think he's like 76. He
looks
looks pretty
good.
old. He looks pretty old.
How old? He's 82.
Wow, I was almost there.
Yeah, he looks young.
But he talks about he does look young. Shout out, what's his name? Faggin.
Dr. Faggin.
Shout out Faggin.
Faggin.
Yeah, I like how he
Fernando
talked.
Faggin.
Faggin.
What was his name?
Fernando
Faggin.
Faggin.
He's Italian.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him about it because he talks about like kind of my experience, very similar experiences of like a white transcendent light, like a warm light, but that light also being love. And like he talks about one of the quotes in the video is like your soul is everything, but it's also yourself. And I was like, oh, it's not exactly what it said, but it made a lot of sense to me. And I was like, oh, it's kind of cool that somebody else has had a similar experience, you know? So
Do you think we should invite him here so he can talk to you?
I think so. Come through. Teach me a lesson.
Yeah.
Unconsciousness.
I'm pretty sure he was teaching lessons in like some academic schools, but I'm pretty sure he would have to start with you a little bit, slower.
A little slower, yeah.
Yeah, get you a little bit on the subject.
He's like a quantum chemist, whatever he is.
And he speaks more and more recently because he is very passionate to tell us the message. Do you know which message he's telling us? Did you get to that part?
I don't think I got to the message.
You didn't get the message. He's telling us the message that we are not computers, because AI is going up everywhere, and looks like AI is just following what we do, and it's very easy to think that we're gonna be computers. We're gonna be computers, but we're trying to be as good as AI, and someday we will become computer. Do you want to be a computer?
No. I mean, it'd be kind of cool to be a computer. You could like, if you were the programmer, like if you knew how to program your computer, that'd be pretty sick.
No, that's good. Yeah, program a computer is good, but to be a computer, I think you have a little more than that. I think you're a little bit more complicated creature, Taylor.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think you have more flaws too. Is it good to have flaws?
Sometimes. Everybody has flaws,
Not everybody, AI doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Well, they're fixing it. It's gonna get better and better, and someday it might not have flaws.
True.
Although it's copied from us, so it may have low flaws.
Yeah. I don't know. If it's meant to be perfect, though, AI, like, if they're like, because there's different types of AI. There's like the one on Snapchat that's like forever in there, or like Gemini on Google that's like, Google is more informative. The one on Snapchat's like, if you're having a bad day, just be like, oh, like, what's a good song like for like this, or like, what would you do in this situation? It'll like tell you, like, it'll be like, oh, like, this is how you should respond. Communication is always key. Like, it's honestly really cool. But it's still like, I don't know, just depends on what you're asking it and like your intentions, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I feel like,
my son's still he's thinking that we are computers, just complicated computers. That's what he thinks.
we're biocomputers.
I don't want to think that.
That have babies.
So Federico
Faggin
does not think that we biocomputers.
I don't think so either.
So what do you think?
I mean, like, because, like, you can close your eyes and try to, like, imagine things. Like, we have an imagination. Like, AI has an imagination, though, too. It's like, but it uses images from, like, outside. But if you've ever seen those crazy videos of, like, the faces, like, folding in on each other, like, I can, like, did AI program itself to make that art? Like, some of the art is mind-bending off, like, if you're on mushrooms and you saw, like, some of the art, you've seen some of the art where it's like, it looks like a jester, and then it, like, transforms into like a bubble, like with like a bunch of pores in it, and then it's like, ugh. You'll put some behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, so Federico Faggin,
Faggin,
you got to the part, I know you told me that, is that he had some kind of experience that made him think that we're not computers. Did you get to what kind of experience he got?
It was like he had like an experience of love. Like he felt like he was like, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Where he like felt like he was one with light, you know? And it made sense. I was like, oh.
And he said that if it wouldn't be that experience, he wouldn't know what people talking about, because you have to feel it first to understand.
True. He said if you don't experience it, you can't know it, because experience is learning based.
Yeah,
right?
And everybody experiencing it differently, right? So I think he's talking about that as well, that if you taking a piece of chocolate, I'm taking a piece of chocolate, we may have a different experience. We kind of using words to describe each other, what kind of experiences we have, but it kind of takes us symbols and a little bit to get on the same page and understand each other.
I agree.
So he had some kind of experience. So you had some kind of experiences too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You the most experienced person in this room.
Probably.
Okay, so what experience do you think he had? So for everybody, I got his book. I'm listening to his book. I'm like on third chapter, so I haven't got to the experience yet. And that's why we can kind of talk about it and imagine what kind of experience.
I feel it sounds like a dissolution of self. Like that's what it sounds like. So like when you talk about yourself, it's he talks about your soul, and your soul is not separate from the outside world. He talks about you're a part of everything. And when I felt like he had the dissolve experience, it sounds like he had it was like I don't know, it's incredible to talk about. It's like because after you have that experience, he talks about the afterlife. I didn't get really into it, but it feels like after you die, you're just in that space, like when you dissolve when you die into the oneness of everything, into the light, into the white light he was talking about.
Why do you think he had that?
It could have been a meditation. Like he could have just been like having a really good day, and like, you know, it seems like I don't think you have to have anything. Like you don't have to take drugs or psychedelics to have that experience, I feel like. But it probably was like, maybe he was sitting outside on a rocking chair, you know, like, it was a really good day and he just felt really good, and he just like closed his eyes, you know, and just like, it could have been that, like he's old, you know, like his brain could have just been
No, it was 30 years ago, he was young.
Oh, it was 30 years ago?
Yeah, he had an experience 30 years ago, he wasn't that old.
Oh yeah, he was like 45 or something,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, I mean, maybe he had some friends. Maybe he had some friends who were like, yo, you want to know about consciousness? This does something. Cause I had a friend who I didn't go to college. But
not yet,
but he studied psychology, and they talk about different substances and how there's risk factors to different substances, and the lowest risk factor was for psilocybin mushrooms, and they talk about how beneficial it is, and like in college, there's a professor telling these students to, if you find it, take them, you know, like try them out, you know, like.
Yeah, so we start talking about him having an experience, and we were wondering how he had an experience. Maybe he was just meditating, or maybe somebody gave him some substances, right? Or more. Maybe, do you think there's some people with more intuitions than others?
I mean, yeah.
And do you think some people have more DMT in them? We all have DMT, so maybe some people have more. Or just maybe kind of a lot of it goes at the same time, who knows why, like releases DMT, and you just, I feel something.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So we don't know.
Because I read that he could have had a really good day at the gym. He could have like got home from a runner's high, because you could have a runner's high and like have a spiritual experience while you're working out. One time I ran from 128th in Colorado all the way down Riverdale to 104th in Old Brighton Road, and like I was panting so hard, and then I was like, something inside me was like, no, don't give up, and I looked up and I saw like a hawk, and I just felt like a connection to the hawk. Like, it was crazy, honestly. I haven't ran that hard in years, but I need to get back into it.
But then this guy is really into quantum mechanics too, and he went to school again after he became an engineer. He went to school and became a physicist and learned quantum mechanics, and he explains all of this from the perspective of quantum mechanics, and it matches up. I think, like we don't know what's actually happening, right? It's hard to tell. It's hidden from us. But it's a matter of belief. Do you believe that this chair is here because this chair is here and I see it and I can touch it? That's why it's here. Or do you believe that chair is here, that's why it's here? What comes first, mind or matter?
That's a great question. I think mind is matter. I think that's what it is.
Oh, you're confusing me now.
Does that make sense?
Not so much. I think mind or matter. Mind, no? All of it together. And I would like for you guys to also think about it. And maybe put on comments. What do you think Ferdinando Faggin had to get his experience going? What happened to him? Put in comments and we'll check, and next time we'll let you know what's actually happened to him. But I think it's just so wonderful that these things happened. So, I promise I told you that I'm going to talk about clown. That Russian clown, I showed it to you.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was crazy. It reminded me of me.
Reminding you of you. That's a famous Russian clown from like 70s or 80s, and he was even coming here not too long ago, and somebody had an interview with a guy who played clown, and they asked him, what does he think about Stephen King clown? And he answered that he doesn't mind him. It's good that we have Stephen King clowns. There is a balance of everything. So as much as people watching those scary movies that you like to watch, right? And they, at the same time, would like to have something nice and soft and good in their life as well. So the more people go into Stephen King's movies, the more people will go to his show.
Or Terrifier.
Yep.
That one's kind of... that one, yeah. Terrifier is crazy.
So I think right now, and maybe it's YouTube that's playing games with me, or maybe somebody else is showing me the road, or maybe it's just accident. No, probably YouTube. So I think I'm only getting those ones that tells me about AI and artificial intelligence, and the ones that talking about consciousness and reality and why we're not computers and what our mental health and why we need psychedelics. And it all comes back to psychedelics. I think psychedelics like a highway, right? Like you said, that you can take that experience, right? You can get that experience somewhere else. But if you want it fast, that's psychedelics. But if you to just run marathon, you'll be there too.
You'll get there. You'll get there. I like the idea though that mind is matter, because like we are matter.
We are matter.
We're solid, you know what I mean? But but everything's the same though. You like when you go to bed and you dream. Have you ever had a lucid dream before, where you're in control of like what happens in the dream? And
especially when I wake up and then I go to sleep, but not very deep sleep.
Yeah. Like in your dreams, what are your dreams made of? Like when you if you're holding something or like kissing someone in your dream or like doing, you know what I mean, like doing whatever, what is that made of in your dream? You know, like it's your mind. You know what I mean? It's your mind. It's what's inside you. That makes sense, right?
Do you think I would dream here?
It's when you take mushrooms, you're in a waking dream state. So you're awake, but you're also, it's like you're asleep consciousness and your awake consciousness fade into one another. And you feel the oneness of everything, but it's like you're in the collective consciousness of everybody. Like it's like in your dream you could punch somebody in the face and have no consequence, you know, like, or like go to a place that's like not real, you know, like, but here you wake up, I have the same address, I have the same bedroom as I did yesterday. I'm the same person today as I was yesterday, you know, and same with you. But it's like, man, it's hard to explain, but mind is matter. Like I could reach out and touch this. It's hard to explain.
Do you think you can make with your mind things happening?
Like I wish I could like move the mic, you know, like, but I can't, like, cause it's already set up that way. Like there's I feel like there's a blueprint to the universe. Like there's all these structures and ancient structures and stuff, like they've been here forever, you know, like it's like there's an order of like things to fall into place. Like it's no matter what.
Well, but I think some of that, but I also feel like we can make a difference, but it's not like this and you can move the mic, but it's just, who knows, maybe like, all of us together, kind of what we're doing and what we think in a collective consciousness and collective thinking, moving things around.
It makes sense. Exactly. The more we like think positive and keep doing positive things like in the world, like the more like new inventions are gonna be out that are gonna save humanity, you know, like it's like
we don't know how it's exactly working, but it's working somehow, but it feels like that's what's happening. We have an experience and experiences throughout the life that we feel like things happening not the way our traditional understanding of reality can explain it, right? Like this deja vu, that doesn't make sense. This thing doesn't make sense. There's something about it, something more complicated. Like to know. It makes me feel good that somebody 30 years ago started foundation so people can realize that there is more to reality and try to explain it with physics, with all the new scientific discoveries, and put it in front of us. So maybe as a collective consciousness, we're not gonna start thinking that we are computers, because if we're all gonna think that we are computers, I'm really scared that we're gonna make ourselves computers. We're gonna become computers just because we're thinking that we are computers. That's what I'm worried about. When he said that, I was like, that's what I'm worried about too. I don't wanna be a computer. I love AI. I wanna learn everything about it, use it, but I want to learn who we are, and we are more than AI, and that's what another thing Ferdinand Faggin said, that we feeling happy when we're learning about ourselves. Like one has to learn about themselves, and
like-
that's when we feel happy.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I want to learn about the past. I want to go, like, that's what, like, all these, like Indiana Jones and, like, The Mummy, like, all those movies would, like, get me, like, going as a kid. Or pirate movies, like, anything that's, like, unveiling secrets or, like, the past. And, like, anything that's like that, I'm, like, really into, like...
But when people discovering and they looking at you, Taylor, and you goofy, and they looking at you and they saying, this is me. This is a little bit of me. I'm just like that. And that's why people feeling good about that. Because
True.
they just recognize themselves.
Try mushrooms. They're good.
Read Ferdinando Faggin
Faggin.
book. Like us, subscribe us, and we'll see you soon to give you the truth. What had Ferdinando Faggin? What was his experience? We'll learn, and we will tell you all about it.
Hopefully,
See you
I
soon.
could get to interview him.
And Taylor will interview him for sure. We'll send him this video, and he wouldn't be able to resist.
I hope I make him laugh. Let's do it. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.